If I Can, You Can Woodworking. Today on If I Can, You Can Woodworking, we're going to build this beautiful little child's bench, and it turns out really nice. A good seller. I think if anybody wants to build one, they ought to get their hands dirty and get one made, because they're real cute and a good seller. And if I can do it, you can too. Hi, my name is Tim. I've started this YouTube channel called If I Can, You Can Woodworking to help people learn that they can do some woodworking. If I can do it, you can too. Trust me. I haven't had any formal education in woodworking. I've never been to any type of school or training. I've learned what I have from YouTube videos and watching some relatives that do woodworking or have done woodworking in the past, and learned what I could from them just by watching and learning. Get your hands dirty and try something. And one thing I used to think is, all those expensive tools, I can't afford to buy them and get started in this stuff, and I just have to fantasize about it. But truth of the matter is, I've grown to realize that you can find a lot of your tools on your classifieds and liquidation tool sales and stuff. We've got some around here that I've got a lot of the tools. You see, a lot around my shop. A lot of those tools come from those type deals. Some of them I bought brand new, but to start off with, I got my first drill from a garage sale. And anyway, it just takes a little bit of time to get what you need to get started, but like I say, you got to start somewhere. It takes a little bit of knowledge. Watch YouTube channel, watch my channel. I'll teach you what I can. That's my goal here, is to teach you that you can do it just like I can. If I can do it, you can do it. So anyways, I work out of my garage, nothing fancy. It's cluttered. I got a lot of stuff in here. Anyway, just start where you can start. I've started with a lot of Ryobi. It's to me a good tool brand for the price that you pay for them. They're a cheaper tool, but they do pretty good. So anyway, you can do this just like I'm doing it. So come along with me on this journey and let's see where it goes. We'll start off here. We're going to go through and we're going to go to this better part of the board here for the bench top. This is just a regular old 2x8 by 8. We won't need all of it, but we'll need a portion of it here, and I'm just going to try to avoid cutting into a knot or something. I want that top to be as good looking as it can be. And then after I get this cut off, I ain't got quite enough room here for a table saw blocking the board from going off that way, but I'll cut off, get my little leg supports cut off out of there and off this side. But we'll start right here first. Get this saw locked in on 0 here. Cut me a rest right off the side of this knot. The top part of that's going to be 20 inches. We're going to scroll down here. Get me a mark at 20 inches. Oop. Got my 20-inch board here for the top, and you leave me a piece that's going to be 9 inches long for the leg. You get your 9 inches for here. It's going to go under it like so, and you got another 1.5 inches up here, so it'll make 10.5 inches. And we're going to cut that off, leave us some good looking wood here for the leg. Keep that block. It might become useful for something later. So now I need to measure 9 inches here. Get my pencil. Alright, so that's one piece for the first leg. Scrap piece of wood. Check these, make sure they're the same. Perfect. Alright. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is I like to put these little hearts in the side of the legs here. Just kind of makes it more special for a kid. I do got to say that we're going to, when we get this thing built, we're going to do something like, so it's going to come in 2 or 3 inches here. You're going to come in like so. So off in the middle here, there's going to be a 2x3 that goes across for a brace. So we got enough, leave enough room that heart, and I'll do a little archway at the bottom, use a spray paint can as it, that 2x3 will fit in between, and plus I'm going to router it, so we got to take an accommodation for that round over bit that I'm going to use. So anyway, just keep that in mind. And the next little thing is, like I say, I'm going to build kind of go in about halfway down this can and make me just a little bit of an arch. So you want to just make it, so you want about halfway in the can. I just kind of find a pivot point where it's starting to pivot, which is about right there. That should be roughly about halfway down the can to make a perfect archway through there. And then I'll just take this tape measure and get my measurements. That's 2 and 2 5/16. Let's see what this side is. 2 3/16. I need to move it just a little bit. Try that again. 2 1/4. 2 1/4. And then we're just going to trace this out. So we're going to cut that out, and then we're going to cut that out. So that's what we're going to look. Now we need to make sure before we get everything cut out, we got enough room for our 2x3. first off, we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to cut this little half circles out on the bottom using this scroll saw, and then we'll come back and do the heart. So anyway. Ooh-wee, look how fast I can saw. Look at me go. I'm making good time on this one. Hee hee hee. Alright, so next, to get this scroll saw in here, in the heart, we're going to have to drill a hole out in the heart. I just take a drill bit, and again, these are some Milwaukee bits I bought from a liquidation tool sale for 10 bucks. Anyway, good bits. And then we're just going to go through here and just drill a hole so we can start our screw. And get us a place for that blade to fit. So then, unfortunately, the way to do on this, which I like using this and I'd rather do it this way, but I like to take the blade off, get it in this hole and start. If I use a jigsaw, it just doesn't give me as good as results, although it works just fine, but this does better results. So I'd rather just take the blade off, stick it through the hole and get me a good cut that way. I just have better control of this than a jigsaw. We got the blade hooked back up in the hole, run through the hole. We're going to cut this out. This is what I like to do. This is how I found works best for me. If you like another way, if you like a different saw, if you want to use a jigsaw or a bandsaw or whatever, then knock yourself out. Do what you got. For what the tools that I have, this seems to work the best for me. And we're going to cut this part out and see how it looks. Alright, so while I cut this out, I'd like to take this time and ask you if you could possibly subscribe to my channel. It doesn't cost you anything, it just helps me out. I'm trying to grow this channel in popularity and try to get monetized so I can make a little money for what I do. So now that I got these things cut out, I'm just taking a little bit of sandpaper and wrapping it around this old dowel because I don't have like an oscillating sander or nothing, and just going to kind of give it a little cleanup on the inside. Any imperfections, start with an 80 grit. If you like this video, in addition to subscribing to my channel, if you could please give me a comment and a like and share it, would be very helpful. I will try to answer any questions that are left in the comments to help anybody out, or if you've got an idea that would help me, I will try to incorporate it in my skills and see if it works better for me. Thank you for taking the time and watching this video, and I'm going to try to get this thing cleaned up and continue on with the video. Alright, so next I've got my DeWalt palm router out here, and we're going to do a 1/4 inch round over all the way through there. And I like to round over on these just to be set down where the flat kind of comes up to, instead of it just being a smooth round over. Just kind of, I like the look of it on these. So we're gonna do the half circle here, and then the heart on both sides on both legs. So we're gonna do that in a minute. So here I'm just taking the trim router and routering out that archway. It's on the outside, so you go, you go counterclockwise, and when you're on the inside, you'll go clockwise, as you see me doing in the heart there. Once I get all this routed out and everything, I'll come back and sand the inside a little bit more with that sandpaper and the dowel rod. Blow off everything after I get through routing, try to get all the big particles off, and then I'll get my palm sander and go over it with a little bit of sandpaper, just kind of rough sand it, get everything, any burrs or anything knocked off of it, kind of get it pretty close to what it's going to need to be. Let me know in the comments how you got inspired to start doing woodworking or watching woodworking videos. What got you into this craft? So here I just go to the printer and print off the name like I want it to look. You can choose whatever font you'd like to use, or whatever you feel comfortable with trying to route in there. I taped this off, tried to center it. You can see me here going through, and it takes a few minutes to get everything centered. So just kind of get it positioned like you want it. Do whatever method works good for you, and then I take this masking tape and tape it down. Usually I will take a pin and go around the edges of it and get it, a groove built where around those letters, and then I'll take a pencil, pull that off, and take a pencil and go where I see that groove, where the indentation from where that pin went. But this time I tried just using the paper on there that's taped down. It didn't work as good for me. The paper did try to move around a little bit, and you'll see me here in a minute. I'll when I pull that paper off, I've got to clean it up just a little bit. But it happens even sometimes doing it other way. So I wasn't very happy the way it looked, and I'm not going to let something go out that I'm not happy with. So I just took another router bit and just kind of cleaned it up, made it look nice, and from there, after I get that done, I'll go back and sand everything down a little bit again and make it look good, kind of get it rough sanded. But that's how it goes. All right, so it's straightened up pretty good. I'm gonna sand it down a little bit, kind of knock everything off and see what it looks like. So I know that the angles need to be better on the filming, but I'll try to get that better on the next video. So here I'm using the same router bit as I did before on my trim router, the round over that I used on the heart, and going counterclockwise like I mentioned earlier around that, and trying to get it all, the edges looking nice and pretty. So here I'm going to start doing my pocket holes. I'm going to use 2.5 inch coarse thread screws for the build. You have to use the coarse threads for the pine, and this is all pine. You got to be careful here to get right in between the edge of the wood and that heart. If you get over just a little bit too much, your hole will go through the heart, and you don't want to do that. I've screwed up some of those in the past, so we don't want to do that and mess up this one. And we were going to come in from the edges 2 inches, and we're going to take some glue and glue the tops of them, smeared around with that patented spreader, and then clamp it down, and then put those pocket holes in after they're drilled. Most of the strength is going to come from the glue, but the pocket holes screws will give it some strength and some stability, but they'll sure hold it in place until it dries up good. And it'll be nice and stout enough for any kid to play on. So it's getting both sides of them done now, and And after we get these screwed in and get it ready, we're going to lay our 2x3 up there at the top of it and get our measurement and what we're going to need, and get me a good measurement, and then we're going to cut it off and put it in place using pocket holes as well. So now I've measured my 2x3 and got my distance I need between those two legs, and I've cut it and got it in there. I'm getting ready to drill my pocket holes. I took it over to my Craig jig and I put it in there. I'm just going to drill 2 on each side. Again, using a 2.5 inch coarse thread pocket holes by Craig. And after I get them, I kind of blow it out. You can see it real quick there, me blowing them out a little bit. And then because everything be put together and you can't get in there good with a sander, I'm going to go ahead and sand everything with an 80 grit. Get it all down nice and, pretty good. And then take the 220 and put on there and get it nice and smooth and pretty much ready for finish. I'll have to do a little bit of touch up, as you always do after you get it done, but kind of take those edges and kind of round them over just a little bit, taking that crisp edge down, and then we'll put it in between the legs on here. Go ahead and touch up the stool itself and the little bench, and I've already did most of the sanding, but I'm touching it up before I put that in there. And then I put my glue on each end of that 2x3 and get it in there. Now the problem with putting the glue on there is every time I put it in there, it seems to smear everywhere going in. I don't know if there's a better way of doing it or not. So if you know, let me know. But you got to get it in between that arch and the bottom of the heart, and then centered side to side. There's not much room in between there, so it's kind of a tight fit, but clamp it on, and then get my screws screwed in at one side, and then my clamp's kind of giving me fits, so I switch over to a bigger clamp and go on each side of the stool and hold it in place and finish drilling that in. I don't know, I think I got a defective clamp or something, but alright, so for this to look all pretty and nice and clean, I like to fill in my pocket holes with some 3/8 dowels. They fit in there perfect. I put a little glue on them or in the hole and just tap them in till they bottom out against the screw, and they'll be sticking out a little bit. I just cut them off where they're a little bit long and get them all in there and tapped in, and then after I get them all in there, cover all the pocket holes, I take I know a lot of people use a flush trim saw, hand saw, but I don't have one, and I use my multi-tool and just cut them off with just holding it flush up against there. Sometimes I get just a little bit of a burrs into the wood, but not much, and sandpaper takes it right away on the final sanding, so it's not enough to bother me or that you can tell. So I'll sand it down, and then it looks good. I didn't bore you with the sanding. I started the painting right here, and they wanted it fire truck red, so this is the reddest paint that I could find, and spray paint it, put me a few coats on, open that door to get some fresh air, and got it all painted up and looking good, and was pleased on how good this thing turned out. Now we have the boss lady come doing an inspection. Whew, it passed, thank God. So here's the finished product of this beautiful little child's bench, stool, whichever one you want to call it. I think it turns out really, really cute. Like I say, they've been a great seller in the past for me. A lot of people's bought these for their children and grandchildren. I've made them for my grandchildren. But after I got through painting, I had my wife go through and she paints the inside of the letters by hand. My hands just ain't as steady for that, and I get paint everywhere. So she does that for me. But I think it looks good. I think you'll be successful in trying to make this stool. Not really super complicated or anything. It's just a matter of getting out there and doing it and trying something new. Just remember, if I can, you can. So, till the next video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, if I can, you can.